What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Stokastic Fantasy Football channel. My name is Matt Savoca, and I am here, as always, with my buddy Nick Lepri, talking flex rankings, talking your questions and answers, getting into everything. But there's a little bit of a somber undertone to today because, Nick, I know you're a huge Dolphins fan, a huge Tua Tagovailoa fan. We both are, and it was just tough to think about football after that. It was a decent game altogether. Teddy Bridgewater was admirable coming in, but how could your mind not go to, just Tua Tagovailoa, just an all-around good dude for all we know and about him, and it's just tough to see. How are you today, all things considered, and what do you think about what happened last night?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. It was just crazy to watch, honestly. It was like he gets hit, they take him off, and then you still have to watch the game, right? You still have to figure out what's going to happen,
Yeah, it's still our
like how
job at
to
this point. Yeah.
how to react going forward. And it felt like it was just different. Like I feel like I'd never seen something like that. Like it felt like when that guy like Ware in basketball when he got hurt, it felt like one of those kind of injuries where it's something you just feel like you would never see. And
Yeah.
then you see it.
I genuinely don't mean to placate it or to do anything like that. I know everyone's going to be talking about it today. It's just something that I feel absolutely wrong trying to just talk about this really fun imaginary game with this football game ahead behind it all, but it just reminds us that these are real people. It sucks to see, and I really hope he makes a full recovery. Really happy to see that he was able to travel back with the team. Do you want to spend a little time taking the fantasy perspective? It's really, really early, guys. Please take this with the necessary grain of salt. But I know you guys come here for answers to your questions, and we want to help you guys as much as we can with the information we have. With all of that said, all this stuff out of the way, do you have an idea about if, when, for Tua Tagovailoa this year if he's going to play, and maybe speculate about these receiving options going forward if he isn't going to be in the lineup?
Yeah, so someone on Twitter said initially like 2 to 4 weeks. I'm gonna be honest with you, I think that sounds crazy. Like, I don't think he's gonna play that soon. I think it's gonna be more like maybe even up until the bye, maybe then he comes back. Again, I don't even know if he's gonna play again. Like, he might never play again, which might sound crazy, but when you think about it, like, the guy's been hurt so many times that he might just never play again, and it wouldn't surprise me. I'd be fine with that. Hope he's okay, but yeah, if Teddy's Bridgewater's the starting quarterback, I know, points of that game, he looked pretty good, but, he's obviously not as good as Tua would be for Tyreek, for Jalen Waddle. So I probably wouldn't say that Tyreek and Jalen Waddle are just going to suck ass now, right? I think that would be a crazy take. But I'm not as confident in them week in and week out with Teddy Bridgewater, except for like next week, right? They play up against the Jets. Like they should be just fine, you know?
I think the Dolphins are still a team that can make noise with Teddy Bridgewater at the helm, but they certainly don't have the ceiling that they have with
Agreed.
Tua Tagovailoa healthy at the helm. We saw Bridgewater lock on to Tyreek Hill down the stretch to the
Yeah.
point where it's not a 1A, 1B situation like it may have felt like in the first 3 weeks with Bridgewater. It felt like Tyreek Hill, the clear number one option on that offense. I honestly was happy to see Bridgewater. Ron the Goat's already talking about it. Like, just chuck it up and try to give Tyreek Hill a chance, which is something I felt like he didn't do in Denver or in Carolina.
Mm.
Uh, you know, maybe there is a little bit of potential here, but ultimately, I think there is a high degree of variability when trying to guess if and when Tua will come back. I think
Agreed.
4 weeks is a realistic minimum amount of time missed, and the entire season is in the range of outcomes. And like you said, unfortunately, if you're just playing the percentages game, it's not like we know anything more than you guys know. This leads to a situation where players reconsider their playing careers. It just is that way,
Yeah.
and just from a fantasy speculation standpoint, that makes it very hard to figure out. But in the short term, Tyreek Hill is definitely going to be utilized heavily. Dump offs to the running back are probably going to increase as well. Waddle will get his on a targets per route run basis. He was still okay with Bridgewater, but it was clear that there was a line of demarcation between Hill and between Waddle. Okay, let's get into the flex rankings because I know people want to see this stuff, especially the mid tiers later on, because that's where people have questions. I'm seeing so many of you guys in the chat. Thanks so much for hanging out on this fine Friday. Ron the GOAT, gang, gang, gang. What's up, guys? Miso's here. How are you? Max is here. Good morning, guys. And we see the questions coming in as well. Week 4 is a big one. We're essentially a quarter of the way through the fantasy regular season. So as Nick gets the graphics up, and I'm definitely not vamping, we are going to open things up to Nick Jackson's first question. What's up, guys? Gabe Davis, who is still banged up, Christian Kirk, and also have James Robinson. Which one of them gets the start? Thanks, fellas. Never miss a video. Great job. Appreciate you, Nick. And to Lepri, what of the 3 would you pick for a starter?
I'm going to play James Robinson. I like James Robinson the most out of that group. I feel pretty comfortable playing him every single week. Now, I also like your other options. I like Gabe Davis a ton. I also like James Robinson's teammate, Christian Kirk. But I think James Robinson's the safest at this point, and he also probably has the exact same upside they do.
James Robinson is running back 11 now in expected fantasy points per game. I will take a top 12 running back in opportunity value as a starter. Gabe Davis has a great ceiling against the Baltimore secondary that does not look good in early advanced metrics on defense. But I think from a, especially if you're thinking about anything other than maybe full PPR, I think it's pretty easily James Robinson. Just want to highlight here we have the top of tier 1. If anybody has players in this tier and they're not starting them, what kind of juggernaut squad are you trotting out there? The only one I would kind of say people were a little concerned about these days is maybe Austin Eckler, just because he's been bottled up of late. Obviously, Joe Mixon. We put the players from the Thursday slate in here to show you where we had them projected. I think it's just good contextualization for you guys. Anybody else stick out to you in this top 12?
Yeah, real quick, we just mentioned Mixon. Are you worried about Mixon? That did not look good against the Dolphins. He has not looked good. He's still getting the touches. I mean, it was almost like Zach Taylor wanted to lose in that game. Like on every first down, they're running the ball. Joe Mixon's getting like a yard a carry if. Like, why do they keep giving him the ball?
You mean 61 yards on 24 carries isn't going to do it? I mean, here's what I see in fantasy football. The volume is what matters. I see 4 targets, 24 carries. How many people are getting 28 opportunities in a football game? Very few.
Not many.
But what are they going to do? Replace him with Pete Ryan? It's a function of the line right now, which honestly held up from a passing perspective and a pass rush perspective more than I thought. Mixon is a high volume, low efficiency player this year, it appears.
Yeah.
I think we should probably move quickly through this part because obviously you're starting all these players. Even when you get here, I mean, 14, David Montgomery is here almost as a placeholder. This is essentially where we would have Khalil Herbert should David Montgomery miss this game. Tyreek Hill, we obviously were very high on. That came to fruition last night. Aaron Jones is one I want to highlight, who is a 10-point favorite and should absolutely smash against the New England Patriots, who also don't have their starting quarterback. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown is another question mark for the Detroit Lions. We kind of glossed over the fact that Jamal Williams is a top 5 player for us this week. That's because DeAndre Swift is expected to miss. And honestly, Amon-Ra is no guarantee at this point. That whole wide receiver core, didn't Chark get downgraded to DNP yesterday?
Yeah, Chark's also banged up. Jameson Williams obviously still on the IR. Not the best situation for Detroit, but the Sun God doesn't need practice, you know?
Yeah, he just like takes in the power of the sun and then executes. Josh Jacobs is one who we're going to project for a lot of volume right now, but playing a Denver defense that looks as vaunted as ever. I don't have him in my top 20 personally. I just don't.
Yeah, I don't trust Josh Jacobs worth anything. I mean, I play him every week in DFS because he always looks like a good play, right? Because he could always score. Like the Raiders, they're so bad. Like eventually things are going to turn around, right? And then they just never do. Like nothing is changing. It's kind of worrisome,
The more
in my
things
opinion.
change, the more things stay the same. I honestly think we should zoom through here. Is there anybody who particularly scares you that we haven't highlighted? Like Najee against the Jets doesn't scare me. Devontae against the Broncos, I'm not benching him. Chubb against the Falcons, all systems go. AJ Brown
Yeah.
against the Jags. Jags are better this year defensively, but still, I'm starting AJ Brown. Even Derrick Henry against Indy, I'm absolutely starting him. So I kind of feel like this is a no-brainer tier as well.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people last week were panicking heavily on Derrick Henry. If you seem to remember, people were getting quite antsy with him, and then obviously things ended up paying off. You can't worry after like 2 weeks on a guy that is as skilled as Derrick Henry. You can't panic that early. The guys looked amazing. If you want me to move to the next year, I will. I don't really have much to say about these guys aside from maybe Aaron Jones, like you mentioned him. Are you slightly worried about this going forward? That it's going to be very hard to decipher which guy to start weekly. Obviously, I want to start Aaron Jones, but this could easily be a Dillon game. Are you muted? Or can I just not hear
Sorry about that. I
you?
think it could be like those Patriots teams from a few years ago where you didn't know which one to start week to week. But I do think from a pure football standpoint, Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon need to be the priority skill position players that get the football from Aaron Rodgers. I don't really
Yes.
care if it's a handoff or a pass. So I think that quality opportunities, as in touches near the goal line of any kind or receptions, are in line for both players, especially in a plus matchup.
Yeah, I agree
Um,
with that.
as we move on here, want to get to Miso's question. What's up, man? Good to see you again. Got Godwin and Gallup on the bench. Okay, probably
Yeah.
too early to start those. I agree. Do I go Dortch or Isaiah McKenzie as flex half PPR? Dortch, yeah, in general has had the higher floor, but McKenzie probably has the higher ceiling with the matchup against Baltimore. What do you think, Lepri?
Oof. I'm probably going to go with Dortch, I think, honestly. I just think Dortch is just significantly safer now. McKenzie's fine as well, but it just seems like for some reason Dortch is just going to have a great year until DeAndre Hopkins comes back. So I'm going to go Dortch.
Just looking at the target totals for Dortch, it is 9, 4, and 10 targets. For McKenzie, it is 3, 3, and 9 targets. So it appears there's some more variability in McKenzie's usage. So you're really betting on offense and touchdown equity. I think your assessment that the floor play is Dortch and the ceiling is McKenzie is correct. Dortch is my pick for you.
Gotcha.
Um, Dalvin Cook, I think he's leaning towards playing, having been a full participant in yesterday's practice. Cordero Patterson against the Browns, who do not look good defensively. You're playing him. Kamara is going to be needed with the red rifle slated to start for the New Orleans Saints in London. Jameis Winston is doubtful, and Michael Thomas has been ruled out. You might see him on the rankings here. We'll get an update in it, obviously, over at stokastic.com this morning, but just to let you know, Kamara might actually move up the ranks. This is still all tier 1 if you're just grouping flex players, right? No one is in a position where you can bench most of these
No,
players, if any of these players, really.
definitely not.
Yeah, so I almost want to move to tier 2 because that's the meat and potatoes. That's the real difficult stuff. And yeah, we can also get, of course, to some more questions. T. Higgins at the top, very top of tier 2. Uh, that seems a little prescient now after the game he had. The Miami defense, I mean, I saw a bunch of current and former players on social media talking about how this is kind of on the defensive coaches of the Dolphins not making adjustments when their primary cornerbacks were out. And so you had like undrafted free agents in one-on-one man coverage against
Gator
Higgins
Co,
and
baby.
Chase. That's
Yeah,
not good.
the issue was also that like the Dolphins have a bend don't break defense, and when Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback, you just break, right? Like they really, I didn't think they once Teddy came in the game, I knew it was over. So I don't know. Maybe that's just my thought process, but the defense did not play how they played up against the Bills. They also weren't blitzing enough for how shit that offensive line is in Cincinnati. It really the game plan didn't make much sense. I will agree with that.
that offensive line, I mean, maybe part of
Hold
it
up.
is on the defense of the Dolphins, but that offensive line for Cincinnati, give them credit. First 2 weeks were atrocious. The last 2 weeks have been
Pretty solid.
significantly better. This is interesting. Singletary or DK at the flex?
I would go. I'd go DK, I guess, man. I don't like either of those options. I think I'd have to go DK because it seems like Gino's looking a little bit better, and that game that Gino's going to be in seems like it could be a real high scoring back and forth affair, in my opinion.
I'm going Singletary by a hair. But if it's full
Still,
PPR, or if you are an underdog, like let's say you had an underperformer last night, like let's say you started Waddle, and he didn't perform as well as you thought he was going to, I think DK against a Detroit defense, which is not good. They're a little bit worse against the running back position than wide receiver, but they are not good against opposing offenses.
yeah.
DK is a really good ceiling pick.
Real quick, Alex donated. I don't know if we got to it. I might have been just mentally out of it, but he said Khalil Herbert where Montgomery is ? Yes, Khalil Herbert would be where Dave Montgomery is.
Yep, 100%. I think we had him at 14. Basically, pencil him in right there. We also have another super chat, guys. Thank you.
How
It
kind.
actually
Thank
means
you,
a whole
guys.
lot. Every little bit helps here. It means a lot that you're here today and just talking football. We're very happy and grateful to do what we do. So Aaron asks Jamal Williams, which we're going to say yes about. Bateman, Elijah Moore, Penny.
All right. Yeah, you're right. The answer is Williams.
We have Jamal Williams at Stokastic.com within the top 10 players overall. So it's going to be a pretty clear yes there. That's assuming, obviously, that DeAndre Swift misses. Okay, let's say he's a surprise active Lepri, just for the sake of argument. Who is it after Jamal Williams?
I think actually after this week, we're going to be very in favor of Elijah Moore. I just don't know if I want to throw him out there this week, like with Zach Wilson just coming back. I would go Bateman personally, but I think Jamal Williams is going to be the guy.
I agree. Yep. I don't think you're going to be in that decision, and I also agree with your hypothetical. Riley asks Dalton Schultz or Tyler Conklin this week. Also, how do you think Jamal Williams will do? We answered that part. Nice job with your running back core. You're starting all three of those guys if you have a flex position. That's just so many guaranteed opportunities there. I think it's Conklin, but by a nose. I actually think Schultz, you can make a good argument for. He's practicing once again, meaning he's trending towards playing. And I'm really worried about starting any Jets receiving option the first week Zach Wilson is in, because I just don't know what the target distribution is going to be compared to Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I have to go Conklin. I just don't know how healthy Schultz is. Like with that injury that he has, I think it's kind of serious. So I would just probably play Tyler Conklin, and then I'm very confident in Jamal Williams this week. I really think he's going to be chalk in DFS. I'm eating that chalk. How Jameis eats a W, baby. I'm excited about Jamal.
Riley adds that he started a pretty good flex, so he may not be able to start all three. T. Higgins was his start. Oh no, I'm so sorry that
An
you're
awful
dealing
play.
with these issues. You got to go. You got to go Mixon and Saquon at this point, but you essentially have 3 top 2 round running backs if we were drafting today.
Yeah, 100%.
Looking through this tier as well, Travis Kelce. He has a wide range of outcomes because
Agreed.
Tampa Bay is a great defense again this year, and he's still got Patrick Mahomes on his team. But against Indianapolis, that team highly underperformed. We saw Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy in a fight on the sidelines. We saw Travis Kelce get a ton of valuable opportunity, but I do actually think that there is a low floor as well as the typical high ceiling for a player like him. That's one I want to highlight.
Yeah, I completely agree. Travis Kelce is pretty interesting every single week. I feel as though he is the safest option on his team. Patrick Mahomes looked not the best up against the Colts, but that was the classic trap spot where you get stuck in the trap. But I think Kelsey's overall going to be very fine every single week. He's to me, clearly going to be the number 1 or number 2 tight end every single week, unless he or Mark Andrews gets hurt.
Yeah. Hey, I was looking at rankings this week. I was looking at rest of season, and is it wild to say that Mark Andrews owners or tight end needy teams alike should consider picking up Isaiah Likely as a last bench spot?
You think so?
Because Isaiah Likely, I think, could be in line for an absolutely huge, huge workload
It's possible.
if Mark Andrews goes down.
Definitely. 100% possible. I mean, if Mark Andrews went down, Likely would probably be ranked inside my top 5 that week. Like the first week it happens without even seeing him play.
Right? He would get a huge workload right off the
Definitely.
bat.
I agree. I mean, Isaiah Likely looked pretty solid in preseason. There's a lot of positive reports out of training camp for him. I think he would really finish probably inside the top 5 in points per game for those weeks if Andrews went down again. We're not rooting for injuries, though.
No. Not at all. Sorry, I don't want to speculate. And also, my Slack just started blowing up. This is so interesting. I have like a very pleasant morning with my work messages, and then the second we go live, Nick, the second we go live, and if any of you work in an office where Slack is involved, is and I'm just getting
The noise is scary.
pops in my ears over and over. Okay, all right. I'm happy to be talking about football. We're starting Jeff Wilson Jr. despite it being a very tough matchup on Monday night. He's probably a flex starter for you. Maybe that's a situation where if you have 3 clear running back ones, you don't have to start Jeff Wilson because the Rams have a very strong defense against running backs right now. And Drake London is one of those players I'm starting with confidence from here on out. I don't really have anyone else to highlight. How about you?
Yeah, Drake London's very interesting now. He seems like he's just a lock to go. I'm still not the most comfortable playing Tyler Lockett. I'm starting to kind of warm up to it, but I still worry that, man, DK Metcalf is just going to be that guy eventually, right? DK Metcalf is the better player. He's the younger player, but maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe Gino loves cooking with Tyler Lockett.
Oh, I hope. Hey, I said this on a previous show. Geno Smith passed for 325 yards in a loss against Atlanta. The first time he's passed for 300 yards as a member of the Seahawks. That's good for the ceiling of both Lockett and Metcalf. That is too high of a ranking. That is aggressive. And it has everything to do with the Detroit defense. Let's move on here to the rest. I believe we're still in tier 2, and let's get to some questions as we do it. Ron the GOAT. If Keenan Allen plays, would you start him or wait 1 week? He's your number 1 wide receiver and hasn't been able to do too much because of injury. Honestly, I think if he plays, you play him. That's kind of how I feel. He was getting fed the ball before he left.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would play him, but unless you're in a situation where you don't actually have to play him, right? Where if you have multiple other receivers that are good, then maybe you just want to bite the bullet in week 4 and not play him. Because look, right now he's banged up. Herbert's banged up. It's not the most like when the Powerpuff Girls put sugar, spice, and everything nice together. That's not what's happening right now for the Chargers.
Maybe Keenan Allen is Chemical X.
Ooh, maybe.
Xenon Allen. Khalil Herbert or Cordero Patterson?
Herbert. Patterson's banged up.
Patterson, I don't have far behind, and I think the matchup is good, but I have Khalil Herbert as a top 10 running back this week should Montgomery sit. Yeah, Patterson's in the top 15, though. Pretty
it's going to be very...
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's going to be very funny when everyone at DFS tries to avoid the chalk, and then Jamal Williams and Khalil Herbert is in the optimal.
Well, it's annoying. I have gotten that way, and here, this is my little plug for the Stokastic DFS channel. Someone got really mad at me that we're doing advertisement for the DFS product that has won people literal millions of dollars, and they're like, you guys aren't well known enough to do that. I was like, you guys realize, first of all, we got 18,000 followers here. Thank you guys for being here. And also, do you know that our Stokastic DFS channel has 80,000 followers? Our subscribers are winning literal millions of dollars every day. Like, we don't need to prove anything to anyone. Just head over to stokastic.com. We've got so many great options for you. We've got the player compare tool for fantasy football and for DFS. So 1v1, 2v2 decisions. You can just plug that in. You don't need any subscription. You just got to sign up and use that tool for absolutely free. It's a really cool time to get over there, stokastic.com. I got to say, as we get to this tier 3 section, Richie James is one where I feel like we're way too overconfident in a very wishy-washy New York Giants receiving situation. Like, why do we have to go here at all?
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Jones does not look good. But the thing is, though, they don't have anyone to throw the ball to. Kenny Galladay has, 2 targets in 3 games? Sterling Shepard out for the season with a torn ACL.
Such
That
a
was
bummer.
brutal to see in person. That's about it, right? They have Kadarius Toney, who doesn't know the playbook, allegedly. Like, who else are they going to throw the ball to? So Richie James is just baked in for these targets. But, what's he going to do with them? Like, he's not the most talented player. Like, the only guy you even want to be starting remotely on the Giants is not Daniel Jones, is Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley. Oh, man, that offense is, bad, except for Barkley. It's kind of crazy. This is an interesting one. I have a clear answer here. Rest of season, Robinson or Brees Hall?
Yeah, I would say James Robinson still.
Me too. I love Brees Hall as a prospect. And if he gets a chance to be the bell cow, he will eat. But James Robinson, from an opportunity standpoint, has a clear advantage. It's hard for me to say that because not only do I like Hall, but he's with Joe Flacco is, I think, leading the running back position in targets. So there's definitely some upside there.
Yeah.
Need trade help badly, says Evan. DJ Moore is wide receiver 1. You also have Najee. Got offered James Conner and A.J. Brown, and you give up Jamal Williams Swift combo, and then D-Hop. That's an interesting trade, to be honest. DJ Moore and, Najee and James Conner is a high floor, low ceiling, unsexy running back core, but I think it's enough to get it done if you have enough firepower at the wide receiver position. You don't mention your flex plays or anything like that, but just starting A.J. Brown and DJ Moore sounds pretty good to me as a starting core of players. What do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely do that. D-Hop might return and be a top 10 receiver. He might also return. We've been holding him for all these weeks, and then he ends up coming back, and he's just okay. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with him being just okay because of where you got him. If he's wide receiver 18 every week, that's fine. But A.J. Brown could easily be the number 5 wide receiver every single week. James Conner could hit. He's clearly given the touches. The team just isn't looking the best. I would do that trade very easily, in my opinion.
Yeah. I like that deal. I actually think you might be able to get a end of the bench player from that team with Connor or AJ Brown, but don't forget the value of an empty roster spot is also pretty solid on most fantasy teams. So going 3 for 2, don't hate it. We're not panicking on Henry. He had a good game last week. Check the week 3 box score. He was back, baby.
Yeah, don't panic on Henry.
The efficiency may not be there this year. It may take a full year for that foot to fully recover. But he's still going to get all the usage, all the goal line work. So from a fantasy perspective, should be just fine. Is that true? Gordon is on the injury report with a neck injury?
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. Oh, never mind. That joke's messed up. I'm not going to say that.
In terms of quality opportunities, Javonte Williams, despite sharing the backfield with Gordon and Mike Boone, is 4th in the NFL in targets and carries inside the 10-yard line. So that's pretty good. Would you trade CMC for Fournette? I can't believe we're asking this. I think I want Fournette. What do you say, Lepri?
Depends. Is McCaffrey going to play? Is McCaffrey going to be okay?
That's what he wants to know.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I think I want Fournette. Just at the very least, I expect Fournette to be on the injury report with a hammy. CMC popping up with a new thing every week, it's killing me. And I saw some bad quotes today. Sorry, I keep just rambling, but they said McCaffrey, quote, could attempt, unquote, to play.
Yeah, this is fucking awful, man. This is awful. CMC is look, CMC is practicing in full today, says Ron. If that's true, then you should not be trading away Christian McCaffrey. Look, I think McCaffrey's going to be a top 5 running back in fantasy. I think it's eventually going to hit. The problem is he just keeps getting fucking hurt. Keeps getting hurt.
I hope this isn't a David Johnson situation where the injuries pile up and we just never get the ceiling from that player again. I'm not saying I know anything. I just really hope it's not. Genuinely. Love CMC. We'll love watching the player. Zach asks, Pierce for Singletary and Bateman. I want the Singletary and Bateman side.
No, I want Pierce personally. I think Pierce has the upside to be really good. I think he's going to get more carries. He's looking better. Bateman's obviously better overall than Pierce necessarily, but I just feel like running backs are more valuable in fantasy. And I don't think Singletary really has any value.
Has plenty of upside, way more touchdown upside. Oh, we're in big disagreement here. Singletary and Bateman smash to me.
Pause.
All right, we should bet on something. We should bet on a jersey.
At my house on this next one.
Your house, great.
Yeah,
great.
I lost my house last night and the farm on the Dolphins, so I got nothing left.
There was someone in the DFS matchup show over on the Stokastic DFS channel that I do every Thursday. Really fun show. Check it out. Every fantasy relevant player from every game in the main slate was saying, "Hey, lost my house, lost my wife, lost my kids, but we're still here grinding."
Yeah, I saw some tweet that was about how. Yeah, I saw a tweet about how gambling became legal in some state, and he's like, "My goal is to make $10,000 this month. Now all I have to do is make $25,000 to hit my goal." And I thought that was very funny. I thought that
was... but seriously, if you don't want to lose all your money betting, go over to the Odd Shopper channel because we have some seriously good information. Bets on every single game. I do some single game parlays. We got college football stuff. We got NBA stuff coming up. Really cool stuff. And there's an odds calculator there. Oddshopper.com and the Oddshopper YouTube channel. How about Ezekiel Elliott against Washington? I think he's a great play. And Kareem Hunt, in my start sit video, I have him as an all systems go starter against an Atlanta team. Kareem Hunt is like 15th in running back opportunity, despite having the running back 1 overall on his team.
Yeah, Ezekiel Elliott's fucking boring. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think he's very exciting at all. He's still start worthy. He's just not very exciting. Like, he gets the ball. And I don't know. There just doesn't seem to be a sense of urgency when he gets the ball. They have like the thunder and lightning with Pollard and Zeke. I think if Pollard got all the carries, the Cowboys would be running through these teams. But hey, it is what it is. I like Zeke. And I forgot, I was wearing my Tua Anon shirt. So shout out to Tua.
Oh, yeah.
Tua Anon, baby.
Shout out to Tua.
Shout out to my guy.
Russell Gage had a career high in receptions. That'll happen when no one else is on the field. Probably won't happen this week with Evans back, Julio likely back, and possibly Godwin back as well. I think this could be actually a sneaky shootout, which is weird to say. But the total on Sunday night in this Mahomes versus Brady matchup is only 45. The weather actually looks like it's going to be okay. Maybe both teams who are looking to figure things out offensively click at the same time, and we get a classic Brady versus Mahomes matchup.
Yeah, I hope everyone in Florida is okay. The weather looked terrible. Yeah, in Fort Lauderdale, I saw this like screenshot. It was like I don't know what it was, like a pier, and the whole pier is just gone. But the funniest part about the picture, which isn't really funny, is that they have like this bright picture of the pier with everyone on it, and then like when the pier's gone, it's just black and white. It's like like the storm took the color away from the photo. I thought that was kind of funny, even though it's not funny.
Like eerily funny. I knew what you meant. You don't have to caveat yourself. We know you don't actually think that dangerous natural events are funny.
Yeah.
The rest of this tier, I do think Curtis Samuel isn't a flash in a pan. I do think he isn't. Way to go, Matt. There's just an opportunity carved out for him in Washington that I didn't expect. I'm happy to see it. I thought he could be a good weapon. I still think Terry McLaurin is a good DFS play, but from an opportunity value standpoint, I get why our projections are gravitating towards Gibson and Samuel within that offense. Anybody else you want to highlight? And when you're done, you can pop on over to the outside the top 50 players.
Yeah, there's really no one here except for DJ Moore. I guess someone asked, why do you have DJ Moore ranked so high?
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know. I'm done with DJ Moore. I have DJ Moore on a bunch of teams.
This is terrible, dude. This is the week.
Did you see the video of DJ Moore in the locker room from yesterday?
He needs like the everybody hurts over it, man. He was like just trying so hard not to say anything that could turn into a soundbite, and it still turned into a soundbite.
Yeah, it needs that Sarah McLachlan song, whatever her name is, where it's like, yeah, that song, "In the Arms of an Angel." That's what it was. That's what it felt like watching that. Like, it was super sad. It was like, dude, DJ Moore's down bad. He's played with all these garbage ass quarterbacks. Baker can't save him. I was thinking that all offseason, oh, Baker's gonna be the savior, and then Baker just slaps him right across the face, fucking Will Smith style. You hate to see it. Next screen.
Keep the ball out of DJ's hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Start Amon Ra. If he starts, you start him.
Definitely.
That simple. Godwin or Penny? John Wick asks.
Oof, I'm going. God, you think Godwin's gonna play?
No, I think that is going to clear things up for you, but I might also just go Penny because Penny's playing Detroit, who is second worst in the NFL in schedule adjusted fantasy points allowed to the running back position.
Penny's gonna have this big game after everyone cut him. It's gonna be quite funny. I'm worried about Penny though, to be honest with you. He just has not looked as good this year.
Travis Homer also going on IR, so they really only have Penny and Walker. This tier is where things get interesting, to say the least. You got your boy Dameon Pierce. I'm sure he's much higher in your personal rankings. I see Rashad Penny there as well. I think Mike Evans is too low against a Kansas City defense that is okay. I think Gabe Davis is too low against a Baltimore defense that has actually been bad this year. And then Josh Palmer. I think that's an aggressively high ranking for a player who could be fourth in the receiving totem pole on the Chargers, maybe even lower than that. Because you got Williams, you got Allen, you got Eckler, and then possibly Gerald Everett in the tight end spot. So Josh Palmer at 58. I understand why we're getting there, but Devonta Smith one ahead of him after his two monster performances. I have Smith way ahead in my personal rankings.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood Brown's underneath him as well. Josh Palmer, if Keenan Allen doesn't play, I get why you would want to start him. But, like, look, if Keenan Allen's playing, like, do you really want, like you said, the fourth option on the team? Probably not, right? I like Hollywood Brown a bunch this week. I feel pretty comfortable playing him. And it's just funny, like, I think I brought this up yesterday, but it's like, why is Hollywood Brown being used how he's being used? Like, he's this deep down the field burner threat, this super fast player, and they're not using him like that. Also, just going to rant here, Gabe Davis at 63. I like Gabe Davis a ton as well. He didn't play great against the Dolphins, but the Bills as a whole kind of shit the bed against the Dolphins. So I think Gabe Davis is going to bounce back.
Still on the injury report, but assuming he can get out there, I think you start him. To your point, Marquise Brown is actually third in the NFL in total targets, but his average depth of target, the air yards on average that he gets on a per target basis, 71st in the NFL.
Makes no sense.
57th in yards per target, 70th in yards per reception.
Yeah, but he didn't like that Baltimore system, you know?
The one where they threw him deep passes like every eighth pass, but he just didn't come down with them. Yeah, that one. I actually like Marquise Brown just because speed kills in football, and that's what he's there to do. He's going to get peppered with targets, especially with AJ Green out as well. Let's see who else I want to highlight here. Devonta Smith, after a goose egg in week 1, has done nothing but just completely ball out against Washington, making contested catches, getting separation. He and Amari Cooper were kind of the unsung heroes of week 3, where if you had them on your fantasy lineup, you knew how much they helped you, but they didn't get as much coverage because they weren't the, premier matchups for whatever reason.
Yeah, Mike Evans, I would also have ranked definitely higher than this. Now, again, obviously that matchup just looks like it's fine, right? But like the Bucks just have not looked good. Like Tampa Bay, eventually things are gonna click. Like it seems like he always starts kind of slow. But this is like he's going as slow as turtles fucking right now. It's taking forever. So I think Mike Evans will turn things on. But right now I'm just kind of low on Evans. I hope he turns it around though. I would be playing him in every team I had him though. So not like extremely low.
I'm trying to look here. What does Kansas City rank in adjusted fantasy points allowed?
Probably good after last week.
They are at right at league average, maybe a little below league average. So they're in the defense doesn't matter category for me. It's all about can the offense of Tampa Bay actually click. Let's move on here quickly because I got to get out of here because I am on a wonderful show called On the Contrary on the Stokastic DFS channel, our big brother channel, the one that started it all, and that just passed 80,000 subscribers last night
Wow.
during our patented live before lock and deeper dive stream before the Thursday night game. Thank you for all of you that hang out over there already. For those of you who are dipping your toes in the water of the DFS streets, I honestly think now and this year is as good a year as it's been in several years to get started on that DFS journey. I'm going to be talking with high stakes player and millionaire maker winner Neil Orfield on the contrary at 11 a.m. Let's go to this final tier as well. This is a black screen. You're getting
Yeah,
there
no, I
going.
I don't
I
have
will
the
answer
graphics.
some
I
questions
screenshot.
here. Should I start CEH or Pierce full PPR? Let me just see where I have them each ranked. I have Pierce 5 spots ahead, so I'm going Pierce by a hair. I'm sure Lepri, who is the Damian Pierce lover of the Stokastic Fantasy crew, will obviously say the same thing.
Nah, I would go CH.
Are you crazy
I like.
against Tampa Bay's #1 rush D?
Yeah, I am crazy. I'm just kidding. I'll go Damian Pierce.
#2,
Talked
the
me off of
random
it. Made me flip flop.
one. Okay, nice. We got the rest of the tiers there on the screen. Brandon Cooks, Cortland Sutton, Chris Olave, DJ Chark, Curtis. Okay, so you need a wide receiver 2 and a flex out of these groups. I think you're going Curtis Samuel, and I think you're going Cortland Sutton. Personally, I'm not
Yeah.
playing Olave. I'm not playing Chark. I'm not really wanting to play Cooks, and then Samuel and DK would be after that.
Yeah, for me, it's Sutton, and then it's either Cooks or Samuel. The safer option's Cooks. He hasn't performed well this year, but I don't think that means like he fell off a cliff or something. Like Davis Mills is just as good as last year, so like things to me are bound to change for Brandon Cooks. But obviously Samuel's the sexier pick right now, so Sutton and Samuel's fine with me.
This is a fun one as we round the corner. We got to get out of here. Miguel asked, this trade just sent to me, your Mahomes for Kyler and Dobbins. I think I'm taking that trade.
Yeah, I would as well, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know what to think about Dobbins. Like maybe he's not fully healthy, but like this Baltimore rushing attack is weird, and like Gus Edwards is he's coming back next week, right?
He has a chance to come back next week. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I don't know, man. Like I'd be fine doing it because I don't think Mahomes for Kyler is that crazy of a leap, and then you get the upside. Like if Dobbins does hit, you made like a fantastic trade. But I don't think this is a steal of a trade in any way. Just based upon how I'm just very unsure about Dobbins. I was unsure going into the season. I'm just as unsure right now.
That's fair. And Kyler's been up and down as well. One thing I will say, Dobbins evaded 7 tacklers. So the 3.3 yards per carry, not impressive. But if you're evading 7 tacklers per game, especially on just 7 rush attempts, he seems elusive as ever. Guys, this is so fun. I love doing these Tuesday through Friday streams. We will be back, the two of us, of course, on Tuesday of next week, talking week 5. But before that, we got Lepri with the Sunday stream. Tell the people when you'll be here once again on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday, 11:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. Answering all your questions, any questions you guys got. I normally try to answer as many as possible. Last night we had a crazy amount of people in the stream. I was getting absolutely blasted with questions. It was quite the fun time. Uh, yeah, so thank you guys for watching today's stream. Make sure you check that out on Sunday. The chat's always pretty fun, and there's also people that answer each other's questions, which I think is interesting. Like that people come in here, they answer each other's questions. It makes it a nice, fun time, and plus you can talk to the people in the chat. Like Ron always has conversations with people, so make sure you guys do check out that stream. It's incredibly fun, and then we get to watch football. 7 hours of commercial-free football. That is.
That's how we do it around here. Yeah, definitely check it out on Sunday. I'm over at the Stokastic DFS channel at that same time, doing live before lock. We'll be back Tuesday with the live streams as well. Thank you to everyone hanging out in chat. Oh, and make sure to check out Underdog Fantasy. We didn't talk about them as much today, but the Best Ball Resurrection tournament in there starts week 6, goes to week 17. Promo code Stokastic gets you free money when you deposit for the first time, up to $100. They'll match that first deposit. That's promo code Stokastic. Thanks so much for hanging out this week. Let's go win week 4 for Nick Lepri. He's at Notorious FNTSY. I'm Matt Savoca at Draftaholic. Till week 4, or I guess until week 5.
Week
We'll
5.
see you guys next time.
Adios.